Thank you. What a surprise. It does remind me that in the original rules, they didn't provide for dribbling. But the way it occurred was, if you happen to drop the ball, you could pick it up again. And eventually, people started dropping on purpose. And so thanks for that instruction again on how dribbling. I'd like to make a couple comments and then turn over to the boss and see if she has any further comments. But watching the documentary, first off, I think it's a tribute to how one person, if they have enough passion and vision, can really accomplish something. Job. Of course, it wouldn't have happened without Mark Allen here, Dr. Allen coming down. Woo! And of course, Bill Self can recruit anybody for anything, so it was very important. But also thanks to the boss for giving me the approval to go ahead. So, just make a couple quick comments. And one of the issues that comes up is what's the role of sports at a university? Why is there so much involvement? In the U.S., it's kind of unique, and it's the way it uses the university system to sponsor big-time sports. And I think this kind of documentary shows why it's important. It gives you the passion. It enables students, improves morale, it keeps alums connected, and it helps people that didn't even go to the university stay connected to the university, which leads into my second point, which is one part of the story that it wasn't important to be in the documentary, but as important as to why we did this, is that we set up the Family Hall of Athletics, the siblings, my brother Mark and his family, Jane and her family, the Hall of Athletics in memory of our parents. And if you want to build something in memory of your parents, you really ought to make it the best you can. And this is where these rules belong in that hall. Yeah! I'll just close with, I think, in my view, the Hall of Athletics is really a tribute to parents. It's clearly to our parents, but it's to parents everywhere that sacrifice a lot so that the rest of us can get ahead. And so the next time you go to the Hall of Athletics, stop over, and there's a plaque to Gilbert and Betty. Read it and, think of your own parents. So, thanks. Yeah!
If people have questions, I don't know if anyone wasn't clear, something wasn't clear to them, or anyone wants to ask a question about something that went down or they saw tonight. Oh. You're asking me or him?
All of you. Did you ever have any doubts that this could be done?
I definitely had doubts. Yeah, a lot of them. You had doubts, didn't you?
Well, there's doubts as to whether we should bid on it or not. I mean, there was a lot of confusion around, how important were these. I thought for a while we were on some outer space. We were seeing something that nobody else saw. So it wasn't until the two of you and Coach Self kind of got plugged in, and all of a sudden, it removed the doubt.
Who's next?
Yes, do we know who's on the end of the line?
Did you watch a movie?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting story. The day after the auction, I woke up the next morning, an email from a friend of mine. He said, "I think I may have cost you some money." It was David Rubenstein, the guy who was in the documentary. He and I sit on a board together, and he was bidding over the telephone just as I was, so we didn't know who the other person was. But so he said, "I think I may owe you a dinner." I said, "You owe me a big dinner." But I said, if I'd known you were bidding for Duke, I would have bid twice as much.
David, Suzanne, and I know Mark knows this, but David Rubenstein is, someone who collects documents. He bought the Magna Carta at auction for $25 million. He bought the Declaration of Independence, a Emancipation Proclamation, but he didn't buy the rules of basketball. Anyone else?
Did you know that it was going to be created into a movie? Like the movie?
The best way to answer that is sort of. The only way I could sort of convince my boss to let me go out on the road was to shoot a movie. But as you can tell, that was the last thing on my mind. So I knew we were shooting something. I didn't know it would turn into a 30 for 30. So, it's a good question. I did, yes. I only went here for 1 year. I didn't flunk out. I got an intern. I was in a big hurry to move to New York City, so I got an internship in New York, and I called my parents and said, "I don't want to come home." And they said, "Well, you got to finish school." So I finished college in New York City. So.
We forgive you.
Thank you. I went here for a year. You saw the film, right? Yeah, grandparents, all the way back, I remember my dad, that was back when Cape 10, I think, was a single highway road, dragging me on school nights to the games, and my mom saying, "Well, maybe you shouldn't go, it's a school night." And my dad saying, "No, we're going to go." I wanted to say that back then in the 80s, it wasn't, you couldn't get basketball tickets. There was a waiting list forever. And I remember my dad was on the list waiting for years, and finally he got his chance. And I remember this conversation at the dinner table when they finally called him and said, "Okay, you can have them." I remember him saying, "I don't know if I want to spend the money. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. You got a budget, sort of thing." And my mom saying, "Oh, Mark, just do it." And so that, if she hadn't have said that, I definitely wouldn't be here right now. She got cut from the film. She's very mad about it.
This is a question for Mr. Booth. When you were bidding, during the process, did you ever think, "This is just insane, and I need to quit"?
Well, your competitive juices start going. I mean, Suzanne will confirm, I don't think I've ever lost at an auction.
Go big or go home. Vegas.
David Rubenstein asked me how much further was I willing to go, and I didn't know whether to tell him I would have gone a lot further. Once the boss nodded and gave me the nod, I was all in.
it. Thanks for coming, everyone.